It's time for an all-new Blitz here on Windstream Channel 4. I'm your host, Brian Carter. We're going to kick off the show here at Habersham Central with Raiders head baseball coach Chris Akridge. Coach, as always, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for coming out, Brian. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Now, first things first, you got to be excited. You got the season underway a little bit. You had to deal with a little bit of the weather issues, but you got one game under your belt so far. What's your outlook for the team this year going into the all-new Region 7-6A? Where do you think you guys fit in?
I'm excited about this group. Most of the guys on this roster on our varsity team this year were varsity players last year, had very were very young last year, very limited experience. Only lost 2 seniors off of last year's roster, and these guys have been working extremely hard in the offseason, and I'm excited about what this season holds. As far as how we compare to the other teams in our new region, it's really hard to say because we've not played many of those guys. We played some of them in the summer. I know last year we played North Gwinnett in a summer game, and I believe they beat us 2-1. I look for us to be competitive. We're planning on being competitive and competing and jumping right in there. And the great thing about baseball is, if you do the little things right, you can put yourself in a position to compete, and that's what we're planning to do.
Now, you talk about competing, and the cool thing for you guys, well, I don't know if it's an advantage or disadvantage from your standpoint, but it's kind of cool looking at your schedule, how the first 12 games of your season are all non-region, and you kind of build up to 6A. You go 3A school, 4A school, 5A, up to 6A before you start, a month from today, actually, you start region play against North Gwinnett. What are the chinks in the armor of your team that you feel like you want to kind of work on before you hit region play?
We need to swing the bat better. Obviously we're only one game into the season, even though we're about a week and a half, 2 weeks into the season. Now the rain's really been hectic to deal with this year, but that's been for everybody. But we want to swing the bat better, and we're making strides in that. Obviously, like I said, one game in, it's hard to really get an idea where we are offensively right now. But I would say pitching and defense look to be our strengths. And offense we need to work on. I feel like we definitely have some guys who have some potential to line up. A lot of guys that got varsity at bats last year, which is huge, getting that year of varsity experience under your belt. That's definitely an area that we're looking to work on is swinging the bat.
And kind of let's go into that a little bit. We focus on what you need to work on, but talk about your strengths. You talked about the rotation and your defense being a strength for you guys. Talk about the key guys we have to look for this year to contribute to the Raiders and what your lineup and rotation is going to be able to go out there and compete on a game-by-game basis.
Well, pitching-wise, we have everyone back from last year. Did not lose a pitcher off of last year's team, which is huge. A lot of these guys logged some innings last year, varsity innings. That experience is just invaluable. We've got Dylan Dalton, Ryan Smith, and Nick Foster were basically our 3 starters toward the end of the year last year. Kind of the second half of the season, kind of settled into the starting role. And as of right now, looking at those guys being starters, as well as Josh Anderson and Patrick Taylor, also got innings last year as sophomores. They're juniors this year, and look for them to get plenty of innings this year on the mound. And Corey Pearson, who last year was just a position player, developed into a pitcher over the summer, and so we're using him now as a pitcher as well. So we're excited about those guys, and they'll also play other positions on defense as well. I have quite a few infielders that are pitchers, so we'll have to shuffle things around a good bit on the infield. But excited about those guys. We've got a tremendous amount of speed this year. We've got several outfielders that can really go. Brant Reinhardt was second team all-region last year, starting in center field. Michael Long, also a guy that runs a 7-flat 60. That's what he ran 7.0 at Berry College this summer at a team camp we were at, and excited about his speed. Sloan Austin, who is a junior who came up last year as a sophomore toward the end of the year. He is a very fast guy and great base runner as well. Not just fast, but smart on the bases. And Brandon Moore also has good speed, so we're excited about those guys and excited about the speed that we have and what we can do with that.
Now, one more question for you, and then we'll let you go, Coach. But 2006, obviously the last time the Raiders made it into the postseason, for the state playoffs. Here we are 7 years later. What do you feel like this team has in its makeup that can kind of get that team going back in that direction?
Well, we met a couple of weeks ago, I guess about 2 weeks into practice. We had an overnight team building time together. It was a great time. I had a lot of fun, and part of that was we set some goals for this year, and that's one of our goals, to make it back to the state playoffs. You mentioned the 06 team. That was my first year up here as an assistant, And that was actually, and I was blessed just to be associated with that team and to get to know those guys. I feel like this team has a lot of the same characteristics and attributes that team had. That's actually the only team in the history of the school to ever make the state playoffs. And so we're looking to do something that only one other team in the history of the school has done, and that's where our sights are set for this year.
Well, Coach Akridge, we are definitely cheering for you guys this year and hope to see you guys get back there and compete in this very tough Region 7-6A. And, good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it.
Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to have senior Dylan Dalton here on Blitz.